Hey, Jefferson. Nixyáawi.
Nixyáawi. Owatla Patway, China. Achakudnas Takshia. Maitski. Pachatipa.
Inušanamaš and kunam ititamašána tímani. Ímatalam nwit Twawaynmí matna.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody else had seen on Facebook. What is that site you're on? Is it just Facebook? It's just keen Facebook or something?
It's a group just of Skuulitpama. Pawyana with a Facebook sukwatash ichiskina nwitna. Just a place for folks to come and see the language, hear the language, ask questions. Shailene Macy, Ania, Mimi, Paish, Pachat, and which Mimi, Wacha, and the Kushi Ania. And then she was working on, I think, her bachelor's or her master's, something like that, with Tecumseh. And we're finding out that there really wasn't an online community even then to support students region and sometimes even nationwide. So yeah, so if any of you are on Facebook, you can look up Itchishkin Facebook, Itchishkin Sinuit Facebook pa, and there's materials and sorts on there. I was just reading some material from the Umatilla dictionary with them, and so there's a lot of things up there, and it's all open for sharing and correcting, so that's the good part about it. So
we did that on here too with the same materials, and just to give everybody an opportunity to read a paragraph or what have you, and it was good. Everybody was able to see where they are as far as their learning to read the writing, and I haven't been able to do that with my own school students. I'm giving them a lot of phrases, short phrases, but it's kind of difficult to be able to do recitation with them over Zoom. So we'll be able to go back in on Monday. We're scheduled to go back in Monday, so I'll be able to have that in-person teaching for that actual, to make them say, I guess not necessarily make them say, but just to give them the opportunity to be able to say it, because in the past I've had some incidences where some of my students, especially when it came to either the lambda sound or the barred L sound, and some of them, one young student in particular, and it was their first language class, and she just came right out and said, I can't say that. And I says, everybody else did, and even the non-Indian kids did, so you should be able to do that. And she said, I can't. And she got up and walked out, and she just left my class. And so I said, she'll be back. That's all I said, because she has to take language anyway. And she did come back, and she came back with a better attitude and a willing attitude. And here we became friends,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Changed her mind.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what I thought was a neat idea was, I guess, in the Dakotas, they had prominent elders that were not interested in teaching per se, but they knew the language, And so their program with the linguists decided, well, they're not going to become teachers. What if we just taught them to write their own language? And then we'd have a writing class for elders. And so there's a video on it. I have the document, and I think you could probably find it on YouTube. But sure enough, they ended up getting a writing class of like 6 or 8 elders, and they would just come and learn to write their language and write poems and short stories. But what was cool about that was then they were still able to use that material if they granted permission for the language department to still use as transcriptions from their elders. So they still were teaching in that way.
Mm-hmm. Kumish.
It's kind of interesting too. I hear that Hawaiian students, they read even more proficiently than English speaking students, because in the Hawaiian language, they teach them the sound of the letter more so than the letter itself, like like C, D, E, F, G, H. They just teach them the sounds. They don't teach them the name of the letter, so to say.
Yeah.
So that's what we were doing here in Springs for little kids. We'd just teach them the sounds then, and we'd come up with the songs. Ataha ikalatla mana pakasata wahaya 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 wahe. And we just sing to them, and then they did get to see the letters too, but we weren't teaching them the A, C, H and all that. We were just teaching them the sounds then. So
yeah, I've never been able to kind of just like I was explaining yesterday, and go chow tai and the kush isik with this mima and the kush husat kusi and the kush chimti awikwai awikut.
yeah.
It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've always just been no matter how many seminars or whatever that I've gone to, I've always just kind of seemed like I've been stuck on just the writing on the board. And whether if that's actually getting through for any language learning, and the kush, the shwa, the pina apninx and the pawa ititamašána and the Twawaynmí paskuuli and Nixyáawi Skuulitpamápa and the mishpa achsha and the tunnas isikwan. What have they, the students that I've taught in the past, I've had to ask myself, what if they're even having maybe retained anything that I've ever taught, and I guess sometimes I get over stressing on the learning how to read the language, because that's what we've adopted. We've accepted and adopted, and yet I do go back to anamas kushnish shapashikwan nwitna. This is not how I learned it. Iwacha sinwit kisim mais yik. It was just hearing it on a daily basis. Kaslan mikni. And so it's always a challenge. And Tiičám K and kushi niash timat and tuni mishana. He gave me some writing the other day, challenging himself with writing, if he saying it right. And everything pretty much was in order, and that's one thing about when we do write language, sometimes we were able to maybe, there's never really one set way to be able to say something in the language, and so that sometimes, that was how he felt to write what he wrote. And it was interesting. I'll pull it up here. See, where is he at, Bobby? Yeah, we're always texting or messaging anyway.
Yeah.
So he says, thinking of a phrase tonight while I was checking on horses. This evening I was singing with the horses and Coyote started singing too. Would it be something like this? Chi kulawit kusiki nish waptaik shana ku iwaptaik shana spilya. You know, and so I just kind of shared with him. Well, he just says, trying to challenge myself to come up with little phrases of occurrences that stand out throughout the days. Might need to stick to basics though. And so anyway, that was what he said.
Yeah.
You know, like chi kulawit. And so, you know, a lot of times when I've tried to share about like this evening, and a lot of times the way I've heard someone that's pulled it up, go ahead and pull up the whiteboard there, Jonathan. Chi kulawititpa. Chi kulawititpa. Inishwalt take shana. And so with the horses, he put in there kusiki, and so because you're talking about more than one horse, and it makes me kind of wonder if we would like imply, you know, with the horses that we would, you know, what if we would kusimain, 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 kusimain. What if that would be one way to say that? Ku spilya. Pinchi iwaptaikna. Or yeah, you know, like chi Skuulitpama inus waptaikshana kusimain ku spilya pinchi iwaptaikna. So that would be like how, you know, my little translation would come out for it. You know, this evening, you know, on this evening or this evening, you know, I've heard that pa a lot of times included in there. So even like, so, you know, just like I said, just like an example of like how he had, like even to say that you were singing, like another way to just say that without saying that innas, you could even say wap taik shanash, right?
Yeah.
Wap taik shanash. And kusiki is also, you know, would work in the same way, kusiki. You know, just like how he had said it, you know, with the horse, with the horse.
Fred, would that give a different sense though, where you might be using the horses to sing in some way rather than co-singing with them?
I kind of think so because of because the I think alongside and then with, because how would you describe that, Jefferson?
Yeah, that was my thought. Is kusimain would be with the horses. Kusiki would be almost as though the like the horses are the inspiration to the song. That would be my thought about that. But yeah, and if it was just one horse, I mean that's an easy one. Kusain, kusiain, kusi, or it'd be kusin, and it kusin ka inash was wopdai kanshana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think if it was a horse by itself, sometimes I think it would kusiki in. It could even be that way. Kusiki seems like it could be. I'm not saying it could be, but kusiki. Because a lot of times when I used to hear Katla in her stories, anakutao tuna and muni tamna nachan khana niku Átway bin iwacha tinit spice now Átway when she was a young girl or whatever. And the kutlao natjap and the man natjap pawina khana tlao iwacha kusiki sim. Everything was just with the horse. Chao Átway awacha spy the tawas and the kush. They didn't have any car yet, because it wasn't until I think the 40s and 50s that they finally got family got first car.
Yeah.
This is just kind of an example, and I wish Bobby was on here, Tiičám K, so he could kind of see this, how that we're, what do you call it, conjugating.
Yeah,
inflecting these nouns. He apologizes. He let me know yesterday he might not be able to make it today. Wasn't sure if he's going to come late or not.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, I think this, like I said, this is a good example of how he's attempting to to say something.
Yeah, I think kusimain would be, but I haven't heard it, and now I'm curious to go to someone's house today to ask. Yeah.
Hey.
So
I mean, because Nishop takes him what if you would even, like, if you're talking about more than one horse, you're talking about the horses, and then what if you would say kusimaman? Hey, kusimaman. Nishop takes him a kusimaman. I was singing, then it sounds like then it would be about the horses. Nishop takes him a kusimaman.
Right, or singing to the horses.
Yeah. Because that in somehow, when it comes in, it does have that indication of, like, with. Yeah. And that goes back to my napu ayatin.
Hey, yeah. Whereas it could say ayatin, right, with your woman, but when you say napo ayatin,
yeah, that's where I messed up. At that time, getting too fancy. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, that's a good one though. Mm-hmm.
You know, and then because he, you know, doesn't say the number of horses that he had, you know, it just said with the horses.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, just, like I said, an example. Let me ask Jean. Hey, Joetta, welcome. Joetta, and whoever else is on here.
Yeah. Tatsala.
Tatsalach. Tatsmewi, Tatsalach. Are you in a different time zone or what?
No, eating lunch already.
Yeah, so what I've been sharing here is what Bobby Fossick had texted me, and then, you know, like I said, he's been challenging himself with what he can come up with. And an original text was that, you know, that I was singing with the horses. This evening I was singing with the horses, and a coyote started singing along. And that punchi is that statement of like him also. Punchi. He was right in there. That, you know, that coyote starts singing. And the coyote started singing too. Punchi, you upnikna. Jean, let me ask you if you happen to have maybe the phrase that we would be able to work on to be able to you know, just to you know, maybe translate. Even if you were to say, I can't think.
Wow. Gosh. Oh,
If you was able to say the horses were singing with me, that would be an easier sentence, right?
The horses are singing with me.
Yeah.
When are the roots ready?
Randy's gonna tell me
The horses are singing with me, and not the coyote.
Well, that could still come in after, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So then the horses were singing with me, like, you know, you're talking about them. You know, like they were singing inain, not.
That would, yeah, that would be for me, right? For and with me, yeah. Because yeah, and because then if you said in Miki, that would mean almost like because of me, right?
Mm-hmm. Like if, you know, if they, like, let's say like if they were following the song, or just then it would be pa'atwanašána. They were following, the song or whatever. But with me, then it would, but singing with the horses, and then again, see, because we do have like, I think it was brought up the other night because of one song that gets sung at the Longhouse every now and then, and sometimes it gets called a veterans warrior song, and then also it's called a horse song. When the warriors used to come back with every now and then when they used to go to battle, and then they'd come back with the empty horse, and then they had that one particular song, and so then I think then it becomes whether if it's actually called that or not, Twawaynmí, well, tight.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, I just thought of something.
Hey, Commish.
When I killed the horse in Mexico, I hit him with my Volkswagen. I was going about 70 miles an hour when I hit him. And I was in the middle of the desert in northern Mexico. And when I hit him, I hit the stallion, and there were 6 mares that were with him when he was running. And when I hit him right in the middle because his body went right through my windshield and over my car.
Oh my
But
God.
when I got out, the horses were wailing. And
Wow.
I've never heard that sound in my whole life. Ever since then, that sound has stayed with me, with the mares wailing. And I was dumbfounded.
Mm.
So horses wailing the horses were wailing.
Yeah.
That's a phrase I want.
Well, I think for wailing or crying, is the word is nachti. Nachti.
Nachni.
Yeah. Nachtit. And kusima. Panachtishána. Or like kusima intiki panachtishána. Panachtishána. They were, crying like loudly, right? Just really.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that that term intikinam sinwitsta, intikinam sinwitsta, like speak loud, in other words, talk big, in other words, where people can hear you, would be one way that I've heard that. But when you say that, like panachtishána, kusima panachtishána, intiki panachtishána. And I think Jefferson probably knows the word for stud horse.
Bollocks, huh?
Grab my dictionary. Yeah, I know that years ago we our uncle, my aunt, my grandma, and Thomas Morningall and his brother, they hit one of our family horses, and boy, that really, the boys really cried, screamed. But yeah, shapanachti or nachti in the dictionary is for weeping. Yeah, so it had that. And Shapanachtit. Yeah, it's something how animals, they get affected by, death too. Like, especially it's terrible when just like when my grandpa's old mare died and she just had a baby horse. That little baby just, was lonely and we couldn't take care of it. And then, well, we took care of it. I ended up raising that colt. And he became a little horse, and so I bonded with him and raised him since he was a little guy. Then here he ended up dying as a young horse, and well, it just hurt my heart, this really just hurt my heart. And then here, one time we were coming back through Horse Heaven Hills, and late at night, my cousins wake me up, teasing me, and he goes, Freddie, get up. And there's Poncho, that was my horse's name. And it was nighttime. I looked around, and here it just teasing me, saying that because we were going through Horse Heaven Hills. Just awful.
Yeah. Oh. The other day I saw there was another word similar to nachti. It was lachti. And I was wondering about the variants, because it kind of reminded me of the other. There's inche and elche.
Yeah.
And if there was if it was dialect or difference in context and perspective, or larger and smaller. What's your thoughts? Yeah, it's in the Umatilla dictionary as lachtitla.
As what is it? What is
Crybaby.
that? A crybaby?
Yeah, lachtitla. I wasn't looking that up, but just when you're just kind of thumbing through things.
Yeah.
That sounds like it might be sort of a diminutive use of these consonant substitutions, like you see with mianas, mialas, where it's sort of like making it cuter or more informal, like how you would talk to a child, maybe. What do you think of that, Átway?
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard that. So one day I was never called that. I used to get teased. That's why he's a good singer, because he was a big crybaby. Hey, Shandin Yate. Yeah. But there you have it, Gene, for, like you're saying, you heard them, horses, when you heard them cry, and, like I said, that word, and, at times when we're not able to do that sometimes after funeral services, and the kush anakunat kwana out nit nwitna shapanachtit yao, to carry on that little piece of the following ceremony, to allow when people can cry, after burials. And so it seemed like anymore that we're I guess you could say we're stuffing that cry within, and we really have to really be in prayer for ourselves about that, because we don't want our people to get hurt and get sick within themselves, and just to be able to not to be able to cry, and just we're always warning or telling people when they should cry, and in the mornings at home or whatever, and then but the ceremony itself, that shapanachtit, for that crying. Yeah, but lachti, huh? That's something I've never seen that, so it's interesting. Lachti,
Átway.
Miss.
Mishnam ashuksha sinwitna yamchatwana. Yamchatwana.
Yamchat.
Yamchatwana. One word. It says, cry after someone who is leaving as when someone dies, or as a child when a parent leaves. As an example, Yamchatwanasha chapa. He's crying after his mother. I don't know if you've heard that in any other context.
Oh, vais nakukwaiche yuan nakui wat tímani and nakui yuan nami wian chimish pashukwatna. Pamaich was pa ashukwan mani awiwacha and the kush waant. So as it is written, because our elders knew those words, so that's, how that is then, they knew how, how these words were just said. Yam Khatwana. And the pais kushki awa and the ku nami in Tintimam and the ku mimi chaspais and the mun panmin ishtma asunman kupa wina khana napayut yao. Maybe it could have even been, for when somebody, when they would, their children or their sons would, have to go to war, like in the army or whatever, back in the World War I or II days, when some of them were, being drafted, in other words, that had to have been a difficult time for, our elders, to have, when they would leave, then eventually they would, some of them, I'm sure didn't make it home, and then, but some, did, but for them to have to go away, yeah. But yeah, got us on a crying tangent today, all because of the coyote. Yeah. All because the coyote was singing and the horses were crying. Yeah. The kush nashaska and khana yikt spilya man the kumimi and the ku nashashakun khana the ku maichus of a chat time with fla. We used to get afraid to have to hear coyotes crying because they would usually always bearers of news. Oh no, now what's going on? What's happening? And it was kind of almost half the time in our life, young life, was fear stricken because of omens or beliefs. But not understanding sometimes that some things were about good news. Nixyáawi. It's funny, wow. Kushki. Mishnama Annie. Nixyáawi Chikuk.
Nixyáawi. Ku konaiti yash chi maisk.
Maitski pa.
Maiski pa. Ku kinut nash yamashma yuk.
Oh. Write all her words down there, Jonathan.
Miss Shani, one more time.
Konaiti yash chi maiski pa. Ku kinut nash yamashma yuk.
You weren't making an enchilada that you forgot about, were you?
So I kinunash. Yeah, kinunash then it would be 2 A's, kinunash. Yeah. I saw deer. Way over there. How far? Whenever you point with your lips, you.
Yeah.
You know, it's good that you're writing what you're thinking, but same time, you know, what you actually did. I walked this morning and I saw deer afar, or, you know, way over there, whatever. Yeah. Then, you know, then if you, to add to your, your story, you know, whether, I don't know, was it on the Temeslik Trail or wherever you were walking, on the road or along the river, or, you know, I don't know where you were.
Slant pit canoe Skuulitpama.
Mish?
Slant pit canoe Skuulitpama.
Lumped pit canoe Skuulitpamaapa. Hey, Gumish. Oh, so you saw the deer over there. Oh, Gumish. Au na ashuk shananam kinuna yamashma. Mishnama kinuna yuka saint kunachi. Mishnama kinuna yuka saint kunachi. Did you also see a buck in there?
Ciao.
Okay. What was that word that we came up with for does? Just does? What was that word that we found out about the word for does? Does anybody remember?
We've used just yamash before for those specifically. Do you remember if there's something in the dictionary?
Oh, it was in the had ayat in there, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
in
we
some set of notes.
Yeah, so there is a word that we used for the does that had a reference to ayat for the female deer, but yeah. So we'll come back to that. We just got to keep using it to get it, you know, in our head.
Yeah, one of the ones we use here is knuit. Knuit is the word that we use here.
Oh, knuit.
Knuit.
Nashakinuna mimi ana shiman yak matlaman but timana and awa wanich for the word for does, they have a word for does. Yeah.
Ayatux.
Ayatux.
Don't even look through the unit.
Yeah, that's a word for ayatux.
Ayatux.
Is it also just female animals in general? Because the reference they give there is to a female dog, Ayatux kusi. I know this is the one you said.
Yeah. So if Annie just saw just does, you know, just doe deer, then it would be Ayatux masim nashakinuna. Ayatux masim nashakinuna. I just saw those ones.
Those ones.
Shandina, I'll give you an opportunity if you have anything that you want to, you know, to share. If you had done anything recently or whatever, and how's your language learning come along? Of Umatilla.
Nixyáawi subsequently talcolix, Nixyáawi as Skuulitpama as kusi, little horses. The school, like, how would I say, like, the school of, like, the little bucks or little, like, horses. I'm trying, I want to make it to here, so I want to make it to class, but I might be late when I come, so
Yeah.
I want to refresh myself.
Yeah, skishout. Skishout has an implication, I believe, of like smallish. Yeah, skishout. Kusi or kusima or mish yuka sintsma. You know, little bucks or little horses. Yeah, skishout. I think it's skishout without the S in front of there. Skishout. Not
It's like skishout.
skishout. Like it has a, because of kis meaning small, skishout. Then what's your what is that? Who's the little bucks of the little horses?
Kindergarten, Pendleton Early Learning Center.
Oh, eh.
The I don't have any picture, but there's horses running. There's at Hawthorne School.
Eh. Gumish. Kwasla nichnam kutkutsha. Yeah, and just a reminder that Damien also has Wednesdays at 11 and Fridays at 11. So, you know, he has, you know, language classes too. So, you know, just want to encourage your participation in his class. So who's in the spelum up there? Mishpamwa, how are you guys?
Just me here. Julie's out for a bit.
Oh, okay. And how are you doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get back into the schools. But yeah, we're on remote learning, so yeah, just started back to school. Trying to work.
Okay. So is there anything that you would like to share as far as, like, you know, maybe like we were talking about, I think Annie said she saw some deer and the name saw, you heard their horses crying, or anything that you'd want us to kind of maybe share out about a little bit of translation?
Oh, yeah, maybe translating. I seen some, gosh, what did I see the other day? We've seen some eagles flying right in front of us. I don't know.
Oh, wow. That must have been something.
Yeah.
Bald eagles or golden eagle?
Yeah, when we were driving, it kind of drove along with us and then it flew in front of us.
Oh, was it golden or bald?
It was a bald eagle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So kamamul is the word for that we use for gold or bald eagle. Iwaynashanna. Kamamul Iwaynashanna. Waina is the flying trying to think of the word. You know that word for alongside? Alongside, Jefferson? Alongside?
Anami pine.
Could you say
Nami pine?
stick pine?
A stick pine would be along the road.
Oh yeah. Inušanamaš, strit pine. And then, so he was flying along the road. Kui Twawaynmí, Watichan. Then he flew in front. He flew in front. Was you by yourself? Or was there several of you?
It was me and my sister.
Okay. In the Twawaynmí, Twawaynmí, or Twawaynmí, I think it's Twawaynmí. I think Twawaynmí would be like flying to me, and
Okay. But would you still though need
Flew
na
to me.
in there?
yeah, it would be fly to me, so it would be flying. Twawaynmí, so Twawaynmí. Yeah. Watichan namiya. Yeah, then it would be in flew. Twawaynmí. He flew in front of us. Yeah. Kamamul inušanamaš strit pine ku Twawaynmí watichan namiya. You know, that's cool to know that bald eagle, he was flying along the road, and then he flew in front of us. That's how I always think of those things as good omens there, you know, and good signs.
Yeah, we thought that too. That was really different.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Well, that's a good, you know, good note to. We'll conclude with this because I got to get ready for my next class here in a few minutes. But just to share my story, you know, years ago, Nixyáawi Skuulitpama. You know, years ago I was hunting and I was walking, you know, high up on this hill, and you know, I had a heavy heart about something, and I couldn't and I saw that golden eagle, and he was flying, and he wasn't even, he was just floating, and just like that, he was you know, like just like that, and he just started, you know, just took a few flaps of his wings and then just kept floating like that. And oh my God, it was majestic. And when I saw that, it was really something. How it's like he lifted up my heaviness out of my heart, and you know, I just offered, like, you know, words of gratitude, you know, and like, you know, just thankfulness. And I was able to go home. I wasn't worried about hunting anymore. I just wanted to get home, and my heaviness was lifted by that bird, and still very vivid. So I'm glad that you got to see that. Well, I hope this has been helpful for us today.
Payo.
In me, our part that nwitna. You know, this helps me in, you know, with our language. And ku anchana hakut damun. I don't know how to say it. We'll meet again next week. So, Kusanawa shamatas tauchma. Appreciate you, all of you guys.
Hey,
Patla.
Yeah.
in Czechis.
Kwasla, kasla.
Patla. Pastai.
Yeah.
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 Yeah.